This episode of the podcast is powered by the Celina Moose Lodge 1473 here in Celina and proud sponsors of the Two Dads podcast. Listen up, folks. We've got a great week ahead, so mark your calendars. On Friday, July 5th, the fireworks are right outside Monroe Bay at 10 p.m. It's going to light up the lake and your group chat, so you're going to want to be out there, get a good spot, and bring your family. The live music schedule this week is as followed. On Thursday, June 26th, it's Greg Klink from 7 to 10 p.m. On Friday, June 27th, it's Never Again from 7 to 11 p.m. And on Saturday, June 28th, we've got split bands. Josh Taylor takes the stage 2 to 5 p.m. and Staggerly closes it down from 7 to 11 p.m. And then on Sunday, June 29th, Staggerly's back 4 to 8 p.m. No cover, no drama, just lake vibes, local music, and a lodge that always shows up. Proud supporters of the Two Dads podcast and proud to be part of the surrounding community. If you want to be a part of something special, something unique, and something fun, join the Celina Moose Lodge today. Hello, and welcome to the Two Dads Podcast, episode number 19. We're just screwing around off camera. Slick Willie to my left, smiling as ever. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how are ya? I realized episode number 19. You know who his number 19 was?
No.
Joseph Daniel Votto, and he still bangs. Votto bangs.
We're not allowed to talk about the Reds on here. We know what happens when we talk about the Reds. Reds are doing okay, so no more Reds talk. How about that?
He's retired. He was a Blue Jay. Blue Jays are going to have a tough stretch this week. Josh Fadem, bet against the Blue Jays.
Talking about editor Josh, I've got another couple bet slips, but he's been doing amazing. The clips coming out here lately have been so much fun. I knew you were commenting on it. He's going to help you with the Ray Cup.
Yeah.
But tell me about your weekend. What you got going? Actually, before we get to the weekend, I walked in the house today, the Ray household. Beautiful household, okay? We have a wonderful guest with Amber here. She had mentioned that the house was amazing, too. Well, I walked into something unbeknownst to me. Riker got hit in the face with a baseball bat, my friend.
Yeah.
Split wide open like a Rocky movie.
Yeah, I got to work this morning, and we dropped Riker off at the babysitter over there in St. Henry, and I know Haley drops him off around 8. It was about 8:30. Get a phone call, and I'm like, that's unordinary. So I text her, say, hey, I'm on a call. What do you need? She calls me, says, you need to call me ASAP. I'm like, oh,
that's
gosh,
never good,
that's
dude.
That's not good. So first I thought like the dog got into something that she shouldn't have got into, and she sends me a picture of Riker's forehead, and they were playing baseball out front, and he didn't realize, and the kid swung, and then the bat hit him, and he's got these big, like, obnoxious baseball glasses.
Like the Pit Vipers?
Kind of. They're just an off-brand from like Target.
Sure.
So they cover his whole face. Well, I guess when the bat hit him in the forehead, it broke those. So, like, the plastic, like, sliced his forehead open. So Haley's like, what do I do? And I said, just go to the ER and get him stitched up. So she took him, and she left work, went and picked him up, brought him to the ER. And I think he got 4 or 5 stitches in his forehead.
Not as bad as I thought with a baseball bat to the face, but I wouldn't be taking bets on how many stitches. I mean, Josh might bet on that. He might take the over 4.5 stitches.
Yeah.
But
we'll text him after this. Say, hey, this is the picture. How many stitches?
He's doing okay though. Riker's doing. I mean, I walked in. I got him a little gift to make sure that Unky Mitch was over here looking after him. He got a little toy from me. But first major injury for Riker. Or is this any more?
Yeah, first one so far. I went my whole career without anything. Knock on wood. So
I wouldn't bring that up on the podcast. If there's any relevant, thank you. This is a beautiful bar made by Bill Ray here,
and
made
Rob Wente. And Rob helped.
Rob's trying to sell me a boat lately. All right, I don't know. I'm just
put it on Instagram.
All right, I'm gonna put a poll up on Instagram if we should buy this boat. There's a giant dragonfly that just flew in. I don't even know. Can't make this up. I know this is non-live, but this giant dragonfly just flew in.
Dude.
It's beautiful. I'm not allergic, so other than that, tell me about your weekend. Riker took a bat to the face. No fun. Let's check off the facial laceration virginity off that one. But how about anything else? You were out of town.
Yeah, we
golfing.
Had an open weekend. I didn't golf, but we went and watched golf. So we went over to Pittsburgh, and we went to the U.S. Open on Saturday. So my buddy Terry Burden, 100% free shout out. He works for the PGA. He was able to get us free tickets to go to the event. So
that always
shout
helps.
out, Terry. You're the man.
Terry.
Hey, yo, Terry. I told him he's a big Jacksonville Jaguars guy. So I told him, I said,
why?
Do you have a... He lives in Jacksonville.
Okay.
And I asked him, I said, you got a Travis Hunter jersey yet? He says, no. I said, blue, black, a white, black, or teal? He says, black. I said, I'll ship you one just as a a payment for my Accord, so I appreciate that. And
You got to give him an off-brand Albert Sporting Goods like DTG print.
That would be funny.
Here, I got you the jersey. That would be more funny
Just
than
like an
then get him the
Alibaba one.
jersey after. Yeah,
Send that.
I got this one in some Chinese shell company, dude.
It'll be there in 8 weeks. Don't worry.
$32.
So we went there to Pittsburgh, hung out Friday night. We went to a real cool bar. I tagged it on the social media on Two Dads Pod.
I saw.
Incredible bison smash burger. And then IC Lights. So if you guys are Pittsburgh people, IC Lights went down great. And we went to this bar. I forget what it was called, but it was very girly. Very, very girly. And we're sitting down there. Haley was having a good time. I mean, they fill up like glass.
What makes a bar girly?
A glass purse. You know, like a fishbowl. It's a huge glass purse.
That's pretty girly. Yeah, I would
And then
say
there's
that's-
just there's floral arrangements everywhere. These little cubbies. It's just very feminine. I'll get it's like spritzies or something like that. So
Hey,
I'll
I'm
try
not
to get a
above a
picture.
spritzy over here.
No, it was good. I went there, had great espresso martinis.
Did you even notice my hair today?
Bartenders were great though. So in walks Minwoo Lee across the bar, and I know Mitch is like, don't know who that is, but he is a top 40, 50 golfer for sure on the
crickets?
PGA Tour. Yeah. And he missed the cut. So he got ate up by Oakmont and shows up at the bar. He's trying to get a drink down there. I tell our bartender, I'm like, hey, that guy down there, that Asian looking dude, he's Australian, but he looks Asian. I said, he's a professional golfer. Why don't you go get him a drink? And if he wants to do a shot with me, I'll buy him a shot. She's like, oh, all right. So she walks down there, kind of looks at me. And I said, your choice. And he's like, what do you want? And I said, your choice. So he picked, what did he pick, Mitch?
Rumplemans.
Oh, God. Thank God he didn't. He picked green tea, which I love. So we did a shot of green tea. He kind of sat down and chilled. And then it was great. Like 20 minutes later, he just kind of comes over, taps me on the shoulder, sits down next to us, shakes my hand, says thank you, and just kind of chills and chops it for like 10 or 15
Dude,
minutes.
that to me is like the ultimate celebrity experience. You know, you don't want to bother anybody. You understand these people have private lives and public lives, and you try to respect. I would say you'll be a lot better than me.
Yeah.
I'd be the guy that just goes and sits with them. Hey, what's up, man? I'm Mitch, and I'd work for the. What are you doing? And we'd get to probably a similar vein, or they'd get annoyed and skip the bar on me. But no, that's cool. I would tell nobody else that. Like, don't go to this Oakmont expecting to meet golfers afterwards, have drinks with them, get free on the course, and go walk around. Those are unrealistic expectations for PGA Tour experiences, but I'm glad you got to have it. Anything else? You went to the casino, and I got a weird text from you at like 1:15 in the morning talking about food truck. What was that about?
Yeah, we got done drinking there, got pretty lubed up, and then Haley's like, let's go to the casino. And I'm not going to turn down a casino trip. So
What's a game of choice?
If I have to go with one, I like Ultimate Hold'em. I love craps, though.
Will you teach me crap? I'm very good at blackjack, and by very good means I've read the book enough that I actually play by the book. And if we get a good squad in the first base, second base, third, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could play some table games. But
Yeah.
I like high card flush too. My buddy Greg showed me that one. You ever play that?
That's a good one.
That's
That's a
just
lot of
fun.
fun.
Just chill.
There's so many options on that one. But craps, yeah, super easy to learn. It's intimidating as shit because it's so quick and everything. Super easy to learn. I could teach you that one. Got back, didn't get back. You're in a casino, you've been drinking. We didn't get back till like 3:30.
That explains the late night text you gave
And
me.
then the next morning, we did not feel that great. Getting in your 30s and drinking that heavy, and then getting up 4 hours later to go to a golf tournament.
I'm in my second podcast. I'm not drinking.
Hey-oh.
I've been.
Hit a button for that.
Yeah, hey, let's go, Mitch. Hey, I'm right there with you. I'm trying to drink a lot less, man. I feel like I started to like step back.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut off your story about drinking too early, but I started to step back and look at it, and then I knew Amber was coming from Simply Holistic, so I really just wanted to detox before she got here to be my best version of myself. I do want to ask her what her favorite shot is, though. You were talking about the shots you did with the golfer. She's working McSobers, so
Yeah.
And
What's your favorite shot? I know you're not a big shot guy, but
I don't know, man. I feel like my worst nightmares are shots because I'll take anything, and then the next day I feel like crap. And Rich said it last week. He said, the problem is you always have the beer, and then you switch to the liquor.
Yeah.
Like he'll be standing over me while we're cutting French fries, and I'm on the floor. You know what I mean? I don't know. I like green tea shots are pretty good. Lemon drops are pretty good. The cinnamon toast crunch. I like little beers. If you
That's
can
a
do a
good one.
little beer shot, if they have that liquor 42 or liquor 43, I can't remember what the specific cream liquor is.
yeah.
I'm sure Amber will know. But the little beer, liquor 43. She's on the side. Guests early. We love to see that. Liquor 43. I do a little beer. They come in the little cute glasses.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
You've been to Town Taverns. We were younger. We used to call it Cinnamon Toast
I have
Crunch.
never drank at the Town Tavern.
That's wild.
Is that insane? I lived in Maria Stein. Well, I always said Maria Stein was my coworkers. I was back in Celina on weekends.
That's true. But
You know what I'm saying? Like there was no.
Yeah.
I just did drugs with city kids.
All right, sorry. So I was just drinking with the normal Mercer County.
I ain't drinking with you guys. Let me go find some drugs in a basement.
You're out smoking pot, but me, Kerry Roberts, Jaron Griesdorf, and those guys. There was a bartender named Marsha that used to work there. So we would do Cinnamon Toast Crunch. We'd call them Marsha's Milks, is what we would call them.
Why Marsha's milk?
I don't know. Her name was Marsha, and it looked like milk.
Just
I guess.
a little older.
It was when
Okay.
we were drunk, and we just stuck. And then the best part of the trip, maybe, and Haley will kind of agree, is we went to dinner Saturday if we got back from the Open. Mm-hmm. Little Italian restaurant. Pretty good. It wasn't fancy at all. Like our whole bill for both of us was like $85. So like it wasn't crazy. And I'm sitting to my back to her. Actress walks in. He was like, "Hey, who is that? That's a famous girl." Turn around. I kind of forgot her name. Stumbled around. Alexander Dadrio, whatever her name is. Daddario
From like True Detective.
Yeah, and we all know why. You know her from True Detective
Because of her very great actress skills.
and her eyes, right above her waist.
A lot of boobs in that film.
Yeah.
I looked right at her boobs, Bill. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie about who I am. You know,
No.
it's all about honesty on that part. She has a great boobs.
Yeah, she did well.
I'm not
Good.
gonna. I'm stamp it. I'm sure there's guys in cars nodding right now. There's guys on YouTube watching. Maybe there's probably girls. I think girls would say it's a great rack.
Oh, Haley said the same thing. Though.
You can't deny a great rack.
Yeah, so so that was my weekend. It was Father's Day. We came home Sunday, just played baseball in the side yard with Riker, kind of had dinner. Nothing crazy for Father's Day.
Dude, there's a dragonfly.
Please get that on camera. It's right on my phone, Josh.
I can't get it on camera. I could try to get it with my cell phone.
Hold on. Oh,
Oh, that's good luck.
I know. I'm going to move it back a little bit so maybe it gets in the camera. But
if it gets near me, I'm swatting it.
I'm not. I'm going to hope it sits on my hat. So how was your Father's Day? How was your weekend?
It was good, man.
No
We went
food truck. You had an off weekend.
I know. It was really weird. We moved in the commissary, so I'm still getting used to that. I'm still getting everything kind of organized and where I want it to be. Got to go out to Lake Laramie where my dad lives, go to the boat with the kids. It was Izzy's. So the thing that sucks about divorce is that Izzy's birthday was on the 7th. I got her the following weekend. So we did like a late party. That was really fun. I don't know, man. The older I'm getting, the more I'm realizing my pops is getting older too. Sometimes it's Father's Day. It's usually when the family like gets together. You know what I mean? You start to realize like, holy crap, my parents aren't getting any younger. So I say it a lot from week to week, and I'll take a moment again just on the podcast. Make sure you call your family. Make sure you talk to your loved ones or just even if it's, look, I'm not here to gatekeep memories or anything like that, but even if it's a second to like pause and look at the situation around you just to say like, wow, these are the good times. You know what I mean? I guess that's an important message I want to say because it was a fantastic weekend. Like the kids loved it. Mac drove the boat all around. Izzy got to play in sand and play with bugs and all kinds of crazy things that she loves to do. They got to explore just those two. But it was a great weekend. I'm very happy about it. And I also just learned this weekend that Wendy's closed in Celina.
I told you that like 2 episodes ago.
I didn't remember that. We didn't talk about that on the episodes.
I feel like maybe I texted you it.
Maybe you texted me that, but
I just remember, I think we were bread and chicken, and like Haley was like, "Hey, what are we doing for dinner?" Riker wants Wendy's.
Haley said she was in the drive-thru, and then she didn't realize it was closed.
Yeah, she drove through and like didn't realize it was closed, and she's like, "Hey, nothing's going on." She drives up front. And they just like did like magic.
When's the last time you ate at that Wendy's?
Celina Wendy's?
Amber, you ever ate at that Wendy's? Often?
Trash.
She's shaking her head.
It's trash.
Trash. Probably the worst Wendy's I've been to. Amber, you agree? She's not even on yet, and she's getting interviewed on the side. I would say the worst. Look, I don't want to be the guy that's got to be, I'm not trying to be offensive, but I always thought you might take a bite and get a needle in it. That's what I had heard. You take a bite of the chicken sandwich, you might find a needle in it.
You know where you don't find needles in chicken?
Where?
Two Dad's Food.
Wow, what a great transition. Two Dad's Food, some of the best hand-breaded chicken and fresh-cut fries out here. This episode is powered by Two Dad's Chicken. Really, that was nice, Bill. We're getting pretty good at this. I know you guys are listening and laugh at home. But no, we had a great weekend. R.I.P. Wendy's. Happy birthday, Izzy. But you want to talk about the operations updates? So we had some events that happened. Obviously, it was a weekend.
Yeah.
Not a lot going on this weekend, but we did do the Globus printing event. That was fun.
Yeah. I'm glad you made through it and you were excited. You were a nervous wreck saying, we're not going to be able to do all this, blah, 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 blah. Turns out, I text Mitch. I was really worried. I texted him about halfway through, hey, how's it going? And he basically replied with, this is effing great. We killed it. They loved us. La, la, la. The schmeezing boys hooked him up, kind of took him, got to walk through the facility a little bit, it looked like.
Got to see a lot. I mean, they showed me their business. It's really cool. They took it over from their grandfather. It's been the family for a long time. Yeah, I learned that we could. one of the things that you had challenged me to do at the beginning of this year was to be more open. I think both of us could agree that my openness has changed tenfold.
Yep. Not between the two dads part, though.
No, that's right. Yeah, I'm still highly attracted to you. But when you asked me in the very beginning, like, are you open to Crown? Are you open to these? I was always like, no, we couldn't possibly do it. I think that was just carryover from last year, thinking that I was still a one-man band.
Yeah.
Coming into it now with a scalable business, with more people around me that want to help, that want to chip in and do good work, I would say, like, it went off without a hitch, man. It was wonderful. The people were wonderful. Something bad did happen, though. I do have to be honest with you, okay? A lady came up right at the beginning of the shift before we served any chicken. She was 30 minutes early. She walks up.
You forget the ketchup again?
Nope. Even better. Hi. I don't want to be a Karen. Here, you be me, I'll be her, okay?
I like how it's already started. I don't want to be a Karen.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
You be me, and I'll be her, okay?
She might be listening to this.
That's fine. Hi, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Hey, just wanted to tell you something. Is that okay?
Yeah. We'd love to hear feedback. What do you got?
Well, I don't want to be a Karen. With the fries, people in Minster at the Minster Food Truck Rally, 4 or 5 people told me, too salty. Okay, bye. And then she just, we just had a great, I said, okay, thank you for that. And I immediately texted Berkey, and bad news, he quit. He's quit. He's done.
What?
For the 5th time this year, whenever any customer feedback has come in, Berkey has quit. So we lost our sandwich, man. I wish I had, like, in the arms of an angel.
I'm going to text Berkey and just tell him. I don't know the song that well.
I'm just letting you go. I was just going to be your background noise. Yeah.
I'm going to text Berkey and just tell him, hey, I just got a text that said the fries were incredible. See what his response is, and you can come pick your stuff back up from Mitch's
already
house.
tried all that, the schmoozing. You know, he texted me after that. Just wash my shirts. I'll have them in the mailbox tomorrow. 2 a.m, by the way. He was liquored up, dude. Yeah,
no, I guess, I'll talk to him. We'll have an event on Thursday this week, and I'll talk to him. It's the same thing.
You think he'll show up?
Oh, he'll be there.
Josh, what are the odds in the gambling? Over or under 0.5? Berkey shows up, yes or no?
Minus 250. He'll be there.
Minus 250. He'll be minus 500.
Yeah, he'll be there. He's as reliable as anybody. Yeah. But, it's important to look at, the percentages, right? 5 people told us that the fries are too salty. They very well could have been.
Sure.
But if we didn't put as much on them, half the people would say there's not enough salt. And I guess you could always leave a shaker out there. I guess we could do that.
I don't know.
But, our fries are our fries. We like the way we do it. And some salt sticks to it a little bit more. You go to McDonald's, you get a different amount of salt in your fries every single time. It's impossible to salt fries the same every single time.
Well,
now if your chicken was raw, yeah, I'll hear that one. I'll listen to that one. But
I agree with that. It's kind of like saying, like, I always tell people, like, we're not a Subway. Like, a lot of people add and change the entire sandwiches, and I'm like, okay, well, just let you know, this is, like, our way of doing it. Like, this is not, you wouldn't go to, I don't think you do it often, but we don't get the benefit of the doubt these corporate restaurants might get. Like, you wouldn't go to McDonald's and be like, hey, I'd like a Big Mac, remove the middle bun out of it. You know what I'm saying? But
I think the Big Mac would be better if you did, though.
Well, that's a subjective take, just like the salt is.
It's the 5 people.
We joke about Berkey. He is always racking his brain on how to get better, though. So I got to give him a shout out. He doesn't listen to this podcast. In fact, people walk up to him lately, as I say every week, and are like, "Dude, I heard the thing about the," and he's like, how do you know that? What do you mean you know that? They're like, it was on the podcast last week.
Well, he's not listening, so Berkey, I'm gonna dock your pay if you don't listen to this episode.
Okay.
But then
he quit. It doesn't matter. That's what he'd say.
That's true. So you're not getting your final check. You didn't put your notice in. Okay. Thanks for returning your uniforms. One thing we did do, though, I finally got access to everything that I need receipt-wise and account-wise to run a full balance sheet for...
I'm so proud of Bill.
For the financials.
He finally dug into my... What do you call your drawers? Yeah, everyone got a drawer in their house. What do you call that? The drawer that you've got...
Junk drawer?
Junk drawer? Is it? What do you call it, Amber? Junk drawer? Okay. Bill went through my junk drawer, which... is the size of 4 junk drawers, and there's just props and mustaches and little, but to your credit, man, I have to give this compliment to you, dude. Thank you genuinely as a friend, as a business partner. You made our books so much better. Like, even the questions people would ask me them, and I would just stare. What's your top line percentage? What's your profit margin? How much are you paying percentage of your business on propane? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just slinging chicken, dude. It'll work out somehow.
Yeah, it goes back to last year when I asked Mitch. I said, so how'd you do this year? What'd you go? He's like, I made way more money than I spent. Like, that was his overall evaluation of business. I'm making more money in my bank account every week, and that's how I know I'm doing good. Which is a pretty good oversight if you just want to look and...
money in, money out.
Kind of raw dog it, money in, money out. But
is that a proper accounting term? If you just want to raw dog it, How much money would it take?
Thank you, Mrs. Bramlage from UNOH. I dropped out of your accounting class. It was not an easy one. So, yeah, Raw Dog, I learned it from UNOH. Shout out Racers. But no, we went through. We had everything in depth. I had to go through the Chase account, go through all the banking stuff. Hey, Mitch, what is this? Hey, Mitch, what is this? Hey, Mitch, what is this? And you responsive. You had answers to everything, and then we just put it in the right buckets and kind of able to organize a little bit. But the good news is, the truck's making money.
Yeah, we like that.
Yeah, and the percentages look good. We don't really want to disclose dollar figures on here, but the percentages look good. So the support you guys give us constantly is incredible. And as we've always said, we're going to continue to give back as much as we can. The more we make, the more we can give back. It's a win-win relationship, we'd like to say.
Yeah, I like that. Racers, we got a cool regatta coming up. By the time you guys are here, it'll be the previous weekend. But Celina's bringing the regatta back. I'm excited for that. We also have the Blended Collective Co. that's having us back. I gave Haley a shout-out. We were there earlier this year. It was our first event.
Yep.
Cleaned house. I will say those girls are rock stars over there. Their business model is super cool. And beyond that, like the rally of community that like lines up for free candles and like homemade, it's just cool. I'm excited to go back there. We'll have a recap next week with that. But the regatta is something I'm looking forward to. You going to bring Riker down there? Like the big boats haven't been here since the early 2000s, man. It's going to be cool to see just our town kind of back on the map like that. Like we've got this beautiful lake. Yeah. And right now it's sort of a tourist trap where people are coming back and going like, oh, wow, what a beautiful lake this is. And like boardwalk area and stuff. It'll be really cool once we get something humming where like the racers are coming in and like a total use of our lake versus Carrie Beamer just riding around on sailboats out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I don't know if we'll bring Riker. He's got a baseball tournament this weekend over for sales, but he's on the 5-day.
He's bringing an extra baseball on his forehead right now. He's got a lump, dude.
He's on the IL right now, so
how many days?
He's got to get checked in with a doctor on Friday. They'll give him clearance to play this weekend or not. But proud dad moment though. I asked him. I said, hey, you might not be able to play this weekend with all your stitches in your forehead. They don't want to rip them out and stuff. He's like, well, if the doctor says I can't play, can I still go watch my teammates? I was like, hell yeah, you can.
Dude,
like,
he went from crying today with a bat to the face. I'm going to cry right now.
Yeah. So I was like, just seeing him, want to support the teammates and stuff like that. So that was good. Proud dad moment. But yeah, Blended's going to be great. The regatta is going to be awesome. I'm intrigued to see the numbers that it brings. It's one of those that we haven't been to. We don't have any data. Mm-hmm. It's the first year back. So I think the excitement's up there. And we did, it was a pretty big deposit to come out there this year. So we're going to take advantage of 11 to 7 Saturday and Sunday, right?
11 to 7 Saturday and Sunday. They said 12 to 5 is pretty much what is going to be out there. The drivers are going to be out there. People are obviously going to be out there earlier to probably get a spot. But, I feel like if we're up and serving by 11, it's about lunchtime.
Yeah.
People don't go much past 7. Nobody really wants to throw that in their body at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So, I mean, there's that. So, yeah, I think we'll put some socials out there, 11 to 7 both days. Maybe Sunday ends a little earlier, but I would say just as a generalized kind of timing, yeah, it'll be cool. So
hopefully Sunday we're done by like 4 o'clock because we sold out.
Yeah, hopefully too. What upcoming events can people hear on this episode so they know what's coming up that following week?
St. Mary's State Park and Campground that we're going to be there June 27th and 28th. So Friday we'll be out there like 4 to 8, I do believe, and then Saturday we're going to be out there majority of the day. The following week, Friday, July 4th, we'll be at the Coldwater Red, White, and Blue celebration. And then the following Friday on June 11th will be the Coldwater Food Truck Rally.
Awesome, man. I'm excited for all those. And if you guys are listening to the podcast or know somebody who wants to try the food truck, make sure you check us out. And you can come see us at those following events. But before we have Amber on, I wanted to ask you a question, Bill. Yeah. We're almost to our 20th episode. What do you think, man? This is kind of crazy to be up here. I feel so much stronger than I did episode 1. I feel a lot more organized. I feel like we're getting better, 1% better every day. How are you feeling? How's this got you feeling as we kind of near the 20 marker?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's kind of like one of those first monumental episodes, right? I think the first one is your first big one, and then 20 seems like the first round number. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited. We've had multiple sponsorships now, the ACA, the Celina Moose, who have both been great, showing us a lot of great support. So that's a cool aspect. We didn't think we'd even be getting paid to sponsor for probably till about now, and that might be a little early or so. And we got paid after episode 4 or 5. The ACA joined on. And really just the amount of people we've had on here and just in the local area that we've been able to help, and they've been able to help us and spread the good word and really get some good stories out there. Excited. I've had so many people reaching out about Keyhole Pizza today.
Did you?
Yeah, they're just awesome. Oh, it's the greatest pizza of all time. I said, yeah, listen to the episode. It'll taste even better. But I'm excited to see what the future holds. Anything special for episode 20, you think? Or what are your thoughts?
I've got some surprise guests that wants to come on. I've got some stuff that I want to talk about with him. So I'll tease it. I mean, he's a blacksmith friend. He's going to tell us about some weird, intrinsic, cool stuff. Questions before we move on to that, though. Was it as easy as you thought? Like when I first brought this up and we were kind of considering, was it as easy as you thought it would be, or is it harder?
I think the first initial part seemed like easy, like the first couple episodes, because you're just so excited. And then since then, like it's not easy. It's not overly like, it's not the hardest thing in the world, but it's not easy. I mean, there's times where like, we have to record the same time every week to make sure we get it to the editor in time, get our guests lined up, help edit it, get the social post out there. You do, 90% of the social posts. I just help out a little bit here and there. But it is kind of a grind. Like every week we haven't.
I don't think it's kind of a grind. I think it is a grind. I mean, if the problem is that the fragility of it is in such a weird place that I think a lot of people don't understand. We do this every week, no matter what we have going on. Sometimes we shift it on a Tuesday night. Sometimes it's a Wednesday night. Sometimes it's a Friday night. Sometimes it's Saturday morning. If you stop, especially in these early stages, I think a lot of people don't understand how hard it is to get anything off the ground, let alone the entertainment space. This isn't, a business. This isn't something that is remarkably, has a blueprint with it. The entertainment space is so volatile. It's so many different trends. You can say one thing and screw it up. You have to show up week to week. If you stop, you lose momentum. It's not a false narrative to say that if you don't keep going, you will lose. And, for us, it's an expression of to be able to give back to our hometown. I'm having a ton of fun doing it. I know that you had mentioned something earlier that you'd seen a lot of people that are getting better at content around here, and I think it's largely and maybe because of some of the things that we're doing.
Yeah, and I'm going to say we there, but I'm going to say you as a large part. I think you're kind of the catalyst to it. You came in town before we started the podcast and the food truck, and you kind of started that social launch. Not that nobody was doing social media. They were. I think you kind of took it to the next level with the food truck. And I think some other companies are starting to do that and follow in line. I mean, Energy Fitness Show, they do it, or Align I've seen's done it. And there's a bunch of other ones that I see that are really heightening their game and realize the power of social media. So big kudos to you, kind of all of what you've helped this area. I'd say it's inspiring. I mean, there's people out there, I think, that'll agree to say, hey, like I'm doing more on socials because I've seen what Mitch or the food truck does.
Thanks, man.
I know I'm a part of that, but Mitch is 90% of the wheels when it comes to social media. I'm just the good-looking guy that everybody likes to listen to.
Well, if you listen to the early episodes, you said it, man. It's about getting me out of the truck so I can flourish and do what I do. And for me, the goal really is, I just want to show businesses it's okay to be yourself, that it's okay to show your personality. And when I came here, it was sort of like, I just want Celina, Mercer County, the surrounding businesses, not to catch up like they're behind. Like you said, everyone's doing social media, but being in a little bit of a bubble, which I think we all can agree we sort of are in, that having an outside influence like myself, maybe even as a catalyst to change, like I said, Lauren from Caddies did that reel of the truck for me, and I got petty. I'm like, I want to show her I can do it too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot there, and really at the end of the day, one of the things I want to say is I just did this for my kids. It's really for Izzy and Mac. I talk about the fragility of life and noticing that my dad's getting older and stuff. And I think one day, I guess I just hope that the kids can look back in this giant catalog of stuff that their dad did and be like, wow, this was his life gaming and this was this life at the food truck. And now we have so many episodes that we can listen to, and enjoy his voice and his stories and his humor. And I think whether you realize it or not, you're going to have the same thing with Riker one day. So I think it's going to be really special. And speaking of someone special, today's guest is someone reshaping what health looks like in small-town Ohio, something kind of in the same realm of content, but now with health added to it. No, she's not blending smoothies. She's blending mind, body, and spirit in a way that feels real, grounded, and just a little bit magical. Simply Holistic in Celina, Amber Evers has created a space where community and healing meet. Even when the town wasn't quite sure what to make of her at first, she's a practitioner, part psychologist, I'm sure, part vibe curator, and whether she's talking about gut health, mind shifts, or breaking generational cycles, she's the kind of person who makes you feel better just by being in the room. So let's welcome Amber.
Let's go. Woo! Hey, podcast listeners, this ad break is powered by the American Cornhole Association, the official governing body of cornhole and the unofficial sponsor of Backyard Dominance. Dads, look. We've all been there. You finally set up your boards just right, and 5 minutes later, the weather app hits you with that surprise thunderstorm in your area. It's a classic. But that's why the ACA dropped the new Versatex all-weather board. It's made from premium outdoor composite and built to take on rain, heat, snow, spilled beer, and whatever else your in-laws bring to the party. No warping, no cracking, just elite backyard performance, rain or shine. So shop the new Versatex collection now at playcornhole.org. And use code 2DADS for up to 15% off your order. It's the ACA, built for players, approved by dads.
Okay, we got it. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for coming in here.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, so you were off to the side. Okay. We were talking about this dragonfly, this darn dragonfly, like all episode, okay? Came flying in the garage, okay? You saw it land like on the TVs?
In the middle of the TVs.
So you had looked up. So what a great start to this holistic approach.
Absolutely.
What does a dragonfly mean when it comes in here?
So I don't know this off the top of my head, but it means transformation and change, adaptability, light and joy, connection to spirit, and living in the moment. And that thing sat there right in the middle of those screens that entire time until it flew back over to you. And you were like, oh, I hope I don't get stung.
I wonder if he follows the podcast.
I'm so glad I didn't squish it or something like that. It has such a narrative to it. Amber just leaves. Like, yeah, you just squished all of the good and greatness. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. I know this is a long time coming. I had enjoyed watching Simply Holistic on all socials. If you guys at Simply Holistic.
At Simply Holistic 21 on
21.
Instagram.
Okay, because 20 was taken. That makes sense. How would you describe Simply Holistic to somebody who knows nothing about it? And maybe how would you describe yourself? I mean, you're here on this podcast. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about the business.
I was a nurse in like a long-term care facility, and then I went to a doctor's office for a few years, and I did a family practice, and then I did OB and peds, and that's where I ended my career. I saw a lot that I didn't agree with, and I was crying on my way home, and it's just like leaving my babies and all the things, and like there's got to be more. There's got to be more to this, and so I came home one day and I told my husband I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to start a business in holistic health. I was dabbling in it. I was no professional by any means. And he was like, okay, like I can tell you're miserable. And he was fully supportive. So that's what I did. And I leaped. I rented a space on Main Street in Coldwater. And I opened 3 months later. And that was in 2017. And then like a year later, my partner came in. After I opened, we were separate businesses within my business because we combined. We moved across the street to our location we're at now in Coldwater. And then 6 months later, we were approached with purchasing Revival Spa in Celina by the Hibners. And we did it. We leaped and bought a second location.
That early in the business, you were just
6 months into our partnership.
I guess, wow, is that at all unnerving? Because like you have a holistic spa trying to get out and you're trying to get into the space. I mean, you're in Mercer County. Let's shoot you straight. When you first started this business, did a lot of people think it was foo-foo, snake oil, witch doctors? Like where was it in the beginning? Obviously, years ago when you got into this, crying from the car, but like, did people think you were crazy for it?
All of the above. All of the above. And I'm in the middle of downtown Coldwater, which is a very Catholic community. So, you have witch doctor, you have all the snake oil. I've heard all of that 100 times over and over until it started working. And so like, that's really what happened. It was word of mouth. Like people were like, oh my gosh, like this actually fixed this, or this actually helped me do this, or whatever it was. We've seen a slew of issues and people that have gone doctor to doctor to doctor, doctor to doctor and have no assistance, And so come in and then all of a sudden they leave feeling better after like a session or just a consult of like, oh, now like this makes more sense. We're digging into like my body, my spirit, my trauma, like things that matter about your health.
There's no trauma in Mercer County. Get out of here.
Trauma
Get me
everywhere.
a beer. Go get me a beer.
Everywhere. We're all just full of trauma and really unprogramming the community and people around. Like you have to look at all of this. You have to look at your body as a whole. You can't just take a pill for symptoms. It's not going to work. Like you either pay for your health now or you're going to pay for it later. And so now we're in this interesting shift of like seeing it very publicly, like RFK Jr. and all that, Joe Rogan, like you are seeing it. We were, I guess, a little bit on the, what's the word? Like during COVID, we got shut down for 10 weeks.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we weren't very compliant to that because I thought it was bullshit. I'm like, I don't believe it. Like, I don't trust the government. they don't want us to get well. Like they're locking us in our homes. People are dying by themselves. Like that's intense stuff. Mm-hmm. And so very quickly, I took a couple weeks and I took it a little serious. I stayed home and after about 2 weeks, I'm like, no, this is ridiculous. So we created like a delivery program with our products. I did solely because I was at that time by myself. But yeah, it's just been an interesting shift to watch.
Do you think it sped up your business or slowed it down?
I think it's sped up. I mean, you can see now there's holistic shops popping up all over. You know, there's things coming all around locally. Even you're seeing more and more supplements. You're seeing more and more massage therapy. You're seeing more and more body workers. You're seeing it happen in real life, right? Like right now, to where I feel like people really had their eyes open to, you know, this isn't black and white. There's a lot of gray area here. So maybe we do need to kind of pay attention to different ways to help, because at any moment, at any time, they can shut it off, you know? So I think it helped. I think it helped us immensely, actually, you know, and now we're seeing growth within other holistic companies. You know, there's all kinds of holistic places around us. And I love to see it. People have, you know, asked me that before, like, are you afraid of that competition? And like, absolutely not. Like, we're winning. If we have more of these shops opening up and that's like occurring around us, like that's the goal. Like everybody there wants to help, you know? So that's always been the goal, is just to help people feel better.
Yeah, I think you're right with that, with just the overall awareness of, I'll call it awareness, right? There's more awareness out there now that there ever was. So I think with, you know, you starting it, branching out, yeah, some customers may go to a different store, right? But then they tell more people word of mouth, like, you guys got to buy into this, you got to believe into this. But you know, with COVID and everything and, you know, launching a new business, was there ever a point where you thought like, oh crap, this isn't going to work and I'm not going to make it? Or
I just quit my job at the hospital and I don't want to go back?
Because I think, you know, jumping into the second store that early is a super aggressive business move, but I'm a big fan of kind of going bigger, faster, stronger, as quick as you can, and figuring out how to kind of maintain in the meantime. So was there ever a fear of, hey, we might not make it?
Absolutely. I mean, 19 was, my son was born, and then 20, they shut us down. And then we very quickly took on that second business. And I remember, I mean, we didn't pay ourselves for Celina for a long time, you know, like we had to really just eat and watch our bank account and do all these things. And it was very much on edge. You know, we invested a lot of our time and energy into it, and it was terrifying. But like you said, like, I think you have to take risks. If you don't take risks, you're not going to grow. People get scared, and that's where they stop in that development, that growing of business in their own personal lives, within themselves. I think taking risks is the most important thing. And me and Michelle had multiple meetings about it, and with our husbands, and our husbands thought we were nuts. You know, they were like, "What are you guys thinking? Like, you just joined together, but we are great partners. Like, we are such an amazing team." She is like my husband, but a female, to where like...
Is that her baby that you have now?
To be determined.
TBD. But she is like, I think it was Deanna Davis, I believe, on here, on your podcast, talking about how important it was to have that partnership, like having two people in it fully, because you guys, it's your business. Nobody cares more about your business than you. So to have another one in there with you that is helping suggest all, you know, and helping with everything, we make a great team. Like I said earlier, he seems more like Michelle. You seem more like me. Like, I do the social media. I'm louder. I'm very like in your face. Michelle is very behind the scenes. She's very much organized. I'm not. I run on no organization skills at all. Michelle keeps me organized.
The first half of the podcast was
my friend Mitch.
Yeah, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Mitch. I go by OG Pickle with the podcast.
Yeah,
I relate to that though. I just talked about the same thing. You know, Bill was. I said one of my favorite things about you, Bill. We try to compliment each other. I think affirmation is really both of our love languages. That's the first thing we set apart in the beginning. What's your love language, and how do you like being communicated?
That's amazing.
To? Yeah,
that's amazing.
So for us, that was the first thing. Well, I didn't have a partnership prior that went super well, so this is a second attempt at it, and I'm not going to make the same mistakes twice. I recognize in the same vein, a lot of it's me too. So it takes a very specific personality to work with you. It takes a very specific personality to work with me. But I said to Bill today, I was like, dude, my favorite thing about you is you know when to tell me to go turn it on and be a star. And then you know when to tell me to dial it back. And hey, bring it home. We need to do this. We got to get to this. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing. And that's I said, everything more and more in excess is my vice. So we studied our vices. We studied wherever we can go. We studied our affirmation. To someone listening right now, they've heard it from me enough. What would you say to somebody that wants to get a partner going into a business? Because that's probably most common. Not a lot of people in their first few businesses are going to go it alone. I am a firm believer that you need a partner, but I also believe that you need to learn how to be a partner yourself. What would you say to someone that's getting into business, says, Amber, I want to get into X, Y, or Z. It could be anything. Health, simply holistic health for this example. I need a partner. What would you say to them?
You need someone with the same beliefs. You need to have the same belief system. That was huge for us. You need somebody that's not going to that's going to put in the same amount of work. And like you said, like you need to have that yourself. Like you need to sacrifice just as much as they are. I believe 50%, 50-50 is the way to go, because I've seen partnerships in my own business, like ventures or my own jobs, that were like offset of percentages. And, you know, you see the slacking, you see the, the anger, the resentment. And I didn't want, nobody wants that. So I think that you need to find the right person. Don't rush it. You need to definitely find, I always joke, like, find someone that you would marry. Like, find someone that you would literally marry. And it's a marriage. A business is a big deal, especially early on. Like, you want to figure it out early, like, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? Is this going to benefit both of us? And you have to want good for, both of you involved, obviously. Have the same goals, and have someone that has strengths, like the social media thing, whatever, the operations.
Yep.
It all matters. It's all equally important, and have someone that's very much appreciative of your skills. Vice versa.
Yeah, that's a nice part.
Yeah, I think, it's a very good thing, because I own a business with another Mitch, actually, dumpster company.
Can't get enough of them.
Yeah, so no more business ventures with Mitch's. When I say Mitch, my wife's like, what are we talking about here? Food truck, dumpsters, what are we talking?
It's called pickle.
I'm like, blonde boy. And she's like, okay. So, but Mitch and I are like yin and yang, right? We're just totally different personalities. I'm gravitating a little bit more towards that outgoing. I've always been outgoing, but more towards the social media outgoing. And he's learning a lot more of the business side, and we're trying to help each other learn. Because then when those decisions happen, it's easy where he's like, when I say, no, we can't do that. Why? He's like, no, we can do it. I'm like, no, here's why. And then the next time he kind of comes, he's like, all right, I kind of did what you said last time. What do you think? Like, you're almost like testing out the theory. And then it's like, hey, I think you're 90% there. You didn't do this. It's like, you can carry the 1 in math, right? So the big thing is, how has your definition of healing changed over the years, though?
It's a loaded question.
Get over it.
I know it.
She didn't want any questions in advance, and now she's saying all the questions are loaded.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I said, how has your definition of healing changed over the years? You said initially it was just the vitamins and the supplements, and then now you've added in, the full menu of everything. So, you go from just vitamins to full body to spiritual everything. So how has that changed over the years and developed for your business?
So, you go through a process, and healing's not linear. It's ongoing until the day that we die and we leave this earth, So I feel like the more you learn, you have to go deeper, like the physical first. That's really where most people start. That's what a lot of people come into the business. They're looking for physical, like, I need vitamins or I need probiotics. Well, then you start digging into, well, maybe this is something you're holding there from your childhood, or, you start digging into these things. It's a whole progressive spiral into your own healing journey, which then goes back into the business and goes into your clients. And then that helps the community and everybody around them and their family. And it's just, I don't know that I answered that question very well.
No, that's okay. I think it was adequate. And
I think it was adequate.
You suck. No.
Right. No, it's a hard question to quantify, I would say. So it's kind of more like a personal level. So if that's how you feel it is, I think that's a good answer.
I think it was my personal journey.
Yeah.
Like, my business reflects my own personal journey. I always say, because as I've dug into my own dumpster fire of a life, that's where my business starts thriving more and more. The more crap I've released, the more I'm like, oh, well, this helped me. I'm going to utilize my dumpster fire of a life to assist my clients in their own dumpster fire lives, or, whatever it is. Because we have all the things, people come in, and like you said earlier, like heart psychologist or whatever, like people say that all the time, that you're so much cheaper than therapy, and they leave feeling better. They leave feeling lighter. They leave releasing this deep, dark, terrible stuff that they've held since 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old, 20 years old,
30 years old,
30 years old,
32 years old.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Our lives are just full of trauma, and it's not just car wreck. It's not just physical trauma, it is emotional. It's the way your mother spoke to you. It's the way that your father, disregarded you. It's the way that your grandparents didn't. There's numerous things that occur your entire life that we just hold. And I believe that every physicality is rooted by emotional and an emotional issue.
I believe that's the exact same. I'm actually so glad we have this podcast. I wish more people in Mercer County could hear this. I wish this episode goes viral as hell because we all do that. Mm-hmm. I feel like it was taboo when I came home to talk about men's mental health. All my boys were like, "What are you, what are you, gay?" Like that was like that's just like seriously. I'm not even.
What's your
trying
answer to that?
Yes, no. But, my point being is like, far too often people hold it in. Far too often people are apprehensive to try new things because it's sort of this like, and specifically in men a lot, I see it's harder to release this just like anger that they have. And for me too, when I got divorced, it was the same concept. First place I went to was Simply Holistic when I came home. I was like, wow, I can't believe how innovative they're starting to get in Mercer County. Not that we don't have a lot of innovation in different avenues, but I definitely would say small regards to mental health. Mm-hmm. Mental health around here was always taken care of with a beer or some liquor, or not talking about it, or confiding in one friend who doesn't have the ability to even help you through it. I mean, that probably happens more often than not. Let me ask you this. Why do you do it? You said you got a dumpster fire of a life. What's the upside then? Do you just want to help people? Like, what's the whole point of this all? Are you trying to chase something away from yourself? Are you trying to make redemption? You have an arc here? Like, what is it now? You said you're trying to help. It's
to help. I can see within myself what it's done for my life, my marriage, my business, my children, if I can help other people to like let go of the shit, like not let go of shame, let go of guilt. Like we aren't meant to hold that stuff, the frequency. I'm very much into frequency, as I call a lot of my services frequency medicine. Mm-hmm. Because everything has a frequency. I'm very intuitive with what's going on in someone's body, and they'll, ask someone, what are you holding here? Well, I don't have any trauma. I'm fine. I'm like, well, it must be nice. But your body says different, and we dig back the layers and layers of trauma, and people leave feeling better. And then that makes them either better business partners, better spouses, better parents. So that creates better in our humanity. That's the goal. Like I want my kids to
explain the frequency, because I too am big into frequency. I talk about it all the time. I talk about your electromagnetic field that's around your body. I sleep on a grounding mat. I'm a little bit of a snake oil guy. I don't really care what you guys think. I feel better. I sleep better. I think better. When you talk about frequency, someone who's listening goes, what does the frequency mean? Without going too deep into the whole route, what is the concept behind the frequency that drives you?
Well, frequency is everything. Energy is everything. We're energy. That's all we are. Words have frequency. God being the highest frequency, it all matters. Your thoughts have frequency. This has frequency. The air has frequency. Water has a frequency. So if we're not thinking in terms of frequency, then we're not thinking, period. Like that's what I think. If it doesn't, when people say, well, how, is it like your gut feeling? That's a frequency. Like what are you feeling in your gut? It's just all frequency. It's hard to explain without going deep into
No, I get it. There's a lot of
neurons
neurons that run through your body
right.
that you have the ability to express. If you measure the frequency of the most authentic tone, if I said something that was condescending or negative, it has a lesser frequency.
Correct.
But if you have an authentic message, and it's why I think the Two Dads podcast does well. We speak from the heart. And when we speak honestly, those frequencies travel further. And I don't want to sound like a crazy person. I don't understand how it all works. I don't think you understand how it all works.
Does anyone understand?
No, but I think you're drawn to something that is it a curiosity then? I know you want to help people. What's the other side of this?
Well, high frequency feels good. Like it feels good to feel good, So yeah, I feel great when my clients leave and they feel better. And I can feel it in their bodies. They feel better, So me knowing that I'm able to allow someone to not have so much density, in their bodies, they can function better. Their chronic illness may go away. Their physical pain may go away. Their sleep issues may go away. Their headaches may go away. That is my drive. It used to be, I think, an outlet to escape my own entrapment of shame and guilt that I carried. But I feel like the last years, I don't know, since I started my business, every year I get, I dig deeper into my own stuff. I'm more consistent. I peel back more of the layers, and I just feel amazing. Like I feel good every single day. I don't have anxiety anymore. I don't have panic attacks anymore. I've seen it transform my own life, and I don't want anybody to ever have to live with that. And I don't want anybody's children to have to see their parent live with that, like my child had to do with me, you know? So that's my drive. Like I want people to know that it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to sit in that, you know, and like really figure it out and take the steps to figure it out. Don't just cover it and like keep shoving it down because it's just going to get worse. You know, I believe that all disease processes are manifestations of really negative things that have happened and thoughts and anger and I've seen it in my own family and in my own self, you know, I in my own life. And so being able to really fix that for myself has been amazing. So I just want to share that because I don't think anybody should have to live like that.
I think one thing you said that I kind of remember a quote, nothing changes if nothing changes. It's kind of like you just sit in your own stew, right? If you're unhappy and, you know, you're at your job or you're unhappy in your marriage, if you're not changing anything to fix it, it's not just going to holistically change there. Little pun, right? But you talk about how it's been full circle for you and your family, which is incredible. But as a business owner, you know, we've had people come up about the podcast, the food and everything, and hey, you know, this is great, this is this. Have you ever had anybody come full circle, right? Say Mitch came in 4 years ago when he moved to Celina. Anybody come back full circle and say like, hey, I've been doing this, it's changed everything, thank you so much kind of thing? Because I feel like that full wraparound is kind of, I guess, where you get that, you know, that sense of pride and joy. Like, hey, Mitch came back. He's so happy. He's so healthy, you know, mentally or physically. I'm sure you get it with, you know, the physical side, but, you know, I like the mental side of it, right? I think mental warfare is real. And I think, you know, men kind of have the same issue like Mitch was talking about. So I don't know if you have anything that came full circle in that.
All the time. And that's really where a lot of the motivation comes in is we constantly have clients messaging us, calling us, walking in I have clients that send flowers all the time. And this isn't to boast my ego at all.
Yeah.
It's just like literal proof that like these people feel better. Their quality of life is better. And like our lives can end at any time. So that to me is a win. Like if I leave tomorrow, I know that I've assisted a little bit, you know, with helping the world be a little bit of a better place.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, my journey really started off with, you know, it led me into this kind of energy world. And that's when I started doing Reiki and hands-on healing and things like that, healing my own self and my own stuff. And the last, 3 years, I guess, or 2 years, 2.5 years, I actually have like shifted. I used to, and I'm embarrassed to say it. I really didn't know that if I believed in God. You know, I had so much bad that happened in my life, and I did the things, and I was in a Catholic community. That's where I went to religion, and, you know, I made all my sacraments. So I didn't, you know, church was just a go, and it wasn't in my home. It wasn't, you know. So anyway, I didn't really know that I believed in God. I knew I believed in a higher power, but I didn't know that was there for me. And I actually started going to a church about 2.5 years ago, like a non-denominational, and it's shifted my entire perspective of really pulled me like kind of out away from, you know, like the chakras and the crystals. Like I know that those are real because I utilized it on myself. And do I regret that? No, absolutely not. My heart's in the right space, and I believe in all of that. If you're right, your heart is in the right space with it. But I've shifted now more to like, you know, meditation is prayer. Like it's all just got a different name. You know what I mean? It just depends on where you're at in your journey. And so I've really shifted my life to God and our Father and really bringing my children to that.
So you're in sort of Mercer County. You're talking about everyone sort of has a similar, I don't know, sometimes they feel like they're on the similar paths. Like you go to church, and this is what you do at church, and this is how it's supposed to be, and that's the ticket to heaven. You're feeling a little different because God is in your household, right? But now you're sort of, I call it an awakening. You're starting to awake, right? You're starting to get off autopilot. We talk about it here. We talk about working on ourselves every day. At what point did you know that your calling would be a little bit to healing others? And because you started in nursing before you even got to this business, what were those? What's calling you here?
I believe that God is calling me here. I believe that God has brought me to this position to help others heal. You know, it's in the Bible. Hands on Jesus healed with his hands. You know, and I believe we all have that ability. We are God. That's what we are. He's in us. So we all have this ability. I believe that I've been brought here to really assist in that way and really like open other people up to that, and not to be scared of it. Like we all have so much power over our own healing. And my job here is to help people understand their abilities. Like stop downplaying your life. Stop living in a shitty job. Sorry, am I allowed to cuss? Stop living in a shitty job or a shitty marriage, and like understand like you have to do the work. Like I think a lot of people think it's easy or it's going to be easy. It's not. It's terrible. It's hard and it's ugly and it's shameful and it's full of guilt. But when you let all of that go, like then we can start, living our best lives every day and just learn from the day before. Like every single day, I'm like, what could I do better as a parent? What can I do better for my business? What can I do better? Every single day in the morning, that is what I do. Like, how can I be better? How can I be better for everyone? And that's just, if you don't know where to start by writing down 10 things that you're grateful for. Gratitude is such a high vibrating, it's a high frequency. That's where I started, was when I was deeply depressed. I would wake up and I would write down 10 things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the apple on my counter. I'm grateful for my fridge. I'm grateful for my electric. Just things that we take for granted daily. And that'll shift your mind immediately,
What's one thing, if someone has depression in Mercer County, I know there's somebody listening that probably has suffered it or feels it or is currently feeling it, because I always say you're either in crisis, coming out of crisis, or heading toward another crisis, right? Life's fickle like that. If someone's listening to this that has depression right now, what's one thing you wish that everyone in this town would try and understand about that, about their body and their healing?
Addressing it is the biggest thing right away, and not shoving it down.
How do I address it? I'm depressed.
Come in and see me and let's have a conversation. That's what I tell anybody that calls or messages, because anxiety is one of the big things. Depression is one of the big things that we see. And that you're probably mineral deficient. You probably don't take vitamins. You probably don't take probiotics. Your gut's probably a mess. And then on top of that, you probably have a lot of trauma or guilt or shame that you're holding. So come in, let's have a conversation. We do free consults, like 15-minute consults. And then we'll be like, hey, this cranial sacral can help. Hands-on healing can help. Why don't we get we give you what we think will assist you. But we are very open and raw and honest with our clients in general about what we think will help. We have devices that scan frequencies in your body, tell you different systems that are off balance. You're obviously imbalanced in general. I don't like to use the term chemical imbalance because I think it's just an overall imbalance, body, spirit, mind. So that's my take on that.
Do you think people sometimes avoid healing because they're afraid of kind of facing the music when they get to it? Like they know maybe I'm unhappy in my marriage, right? And I'm afraid to address that because I'm afraid of maybe what the backlash or, the public eye may be?
I believe most people are afraid to address it. That's why people or stay in unhealthy marriages or stay at jobs that they hate or are in situations that they shouldn't be in because they don't want to face the music. Like it's easier to just stay in the norm, your norm in general, or instead of trying something different. But the people that come in or the people that do the work, like you have to do the work. Like this is not just like, oh, I'm going to read a book and I'm healed, yay. Like it doesn't work like that. But the people that do that, you see the joy come back into their eyes. You see the light come back into their bodies, like you see their souls light on fire. You can see it, the progressive healing, like visually that like happens to our clients, our consistent clients, that it lights my ass on fire every single day. Like that brings me going back. Like you can see these people, just the life come back into them. You can also see people that, the life is being sucked out of them somewhere. And my job is to help you figure out where, why, how do we fix it? What do we do? We can't sit here because that's not what life is about. Life's too short for that. So let's work together and figure out how I can help you, live your very best life, feel your very best.
Do you think this business is your therapy?
Absolutely, 110%. 110%. Yeah.
You think that this was a calling to be on working for other people's version of health and to build your own, because you said you'd kind of got into this, you're kind of new at it, you're 3 months in. Why'd you start studying it, right? And then why'd you decide to pull the trigger on a business? Because that's a pretty big investment.
It's the strangest thing. I don't really know. I just knew I hated my life at that time. Like I had a baby at home. I was dropping her off at the sitter, and I had my son at home as well. He was 10, and then I had a baby. My son Colton, he just graduated high school, and then my daughter, who was a baby at the time. She's 9 now. Cora, I told her I'd shout her out. She made
Shout
me,
out Cora.
made me promise. But I would cry on my way to work, and I'd cry on my way home to the doctor's office. I'd drop her off in the morning, and then I'd come home, and it'd be time for supper. I'd nurse her, and I'd put her to bed, and I did it all over again, 5 days a week. What am I doing? For what? I don't have joy. I'm exhausted. I'm grumpy. My son barely sees me, And my husband barely sees me. My husband's working 60 hours a week. Like, it was ridiculous. And I looked at my husband, I said, I can't do it anymore. I'm done. I can't. I told him, this is what I want to do. I want to help people heal naturally, because I watched children come into the OB, or this, it was a family clinic, OB Peds clinic. So it was kids on Adderall, kids on Ritalin, like kids medicated, super over medicated, kids with so many mental issues. It's so young. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way than shoving Adderall down their face. Like, not that that's an issue if you need it, like, I'm just saying.
Everything has nuances. You don't have to apologize.
Right.
People, our listeners are smart.
Yeah, there's got to be a better way to handle some of these things. Oh, there's a rash. Shove some steroids in their mouth. Give them a shot. Like, I'm like, I just don't. I couldn't sleep. It got to the point where it was making me more unhealthy. Like, I was getting sick constantly. I was constantly sick walking in the office, and that's when I really put two and together. Like, I think I'm physically sick because I'm not meant to do this. Like, God is trying to tell me, something's telling me this isn't where I need to be. So my husband he's a saint. My husband's a saint. And he fully supported it. He could see I was done. I was done with it.
This podcast wouldn't exist without meditation.
That's amazing.
I know. I honestly, when I was going through it, I literally, probably textbook. I was in a marriage that I sucked at. I shouldn't speak so negatively of myself, but I wasn't good. I wasn't in a healthy spot. It's similar to what you were saying. Like, I worked at it, I had kids, and I stayed, and I was miserable. And you're right. I was just focusing all my time into work. I wasn't that good of a father. I always say I'm a better father now in divorce than I ever was when I was with them every day. I'm just so much more present and awake, and it's such a gift. But I would run. I would run a ton, and I would run for miles because there's probably some kind of analogy there. I was literally running from my problems. Like, I would just run, and I get the endorphin rush, and I would do that a lot. And I tried all the things that were like, I tried to self-medicate with drugs and alcohol and whatever would give me a cheap dopamine hit, right? And it wasn't until I started meditating. I would do these runs, and then I just sat on a piece of cardboard and tried it. I was reading about it at night. I was kind of flirting with it. I'm sure somebody that's listening to this is already flirting with mental health and these holistic approaches, and I hope you go to it because my story ends very well. I was meditating, and I meditated so often that I got really good at it. I mean, really went to a place where you'd think I was tripping on drugs. See lights and colors and people and talk to myself. I had a talk with myself. I get choked up a lot, so I'm going to try not to. But I had a talk with myself. I walked down this hallway. I was completely in a meditative state. Hard to understand. Walked down this long hallway, and I learned there was this thing called a conference room. And I was in a conference room with 4 versions of myself. One where I was like 7, one where I was like 10, one where I was like probably 20s, and one that was like me right now. I think it was me right where I am right now. And I just was crying. I was just like, dude, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry I let you guys down. Like, I was just like, it sucked. And I was in such a vulnerable, deep state that like I'm getting choked up now. All the versions of me were like, dude, you didn't fail us. Like, you're just going through it. Like, you don't even realize what you're at right now. You're at such an early stage of the road that you have no clue. So I just, I sat there and I cried, and I called my friend John, who told me to meditate. He was the first guy John Clare, that always likes all our posts. Yeah, exactly. Bill, you recognize it now. Anyway, he just told me that he was proud of me and stuff, and I remember being in that moment, and one of the voices, like the young boy, was like, what brings you joy? And I thought of Tasha. And now, some years later, Tasha has moved from Denver, Colorado. I texted her that day, and now she lives in here, and we're engaged, and we get married next year. So I don't know how it all works. I don't know. People can call it foo-foo. I don't care. I've touched it. You know what I mean? I've tasted what holistic health can do in meditation and some of these weird things, and I can tell you, it ain't drugs and alcohol, and it's not just diving headfirst into religion either. Like, I believe he wants you to get better and find the ways, and if you seek, you shall find. And so that's just my little story I want to share while we're up here too. So
That's amazing. That's
Dude,
amazing.
Thanks for sharing that. I know that's not easy.
there's some deep seated trauma, but I can, one of the things that I want to end on without stammering and crying here the whole time, but I will say it's really cool because the business offers me that same thing you talk about every day. I relate so much to you when you're sitting here. I text Bill every day. I want to be better at this. I want to be a better leader. I want to be a better friend. I want you to be on the camera more, buddy. I apologized last week for interrupting too much. Like, I'm just trying to be cognitively aware, 1% better every day. And I do believe that I've been blessed to partner with Bill, who's pushing me to think that way, to be less selfish, less be egotistical, whatever the deadly sins, more and more in excess, gluttony, ego, fame, all that stuff. I am so much better of a person for having gone through holistic health that it allows me to meet people like Bill who make me stronger or push me to be stronger. So
Right, you attract what you vibrate at. You attract those. Like, you constantly are attracting those people to you. The more you're in it. That's a beautiful story.
And the stars aligned one day. We got to the food truck. Then we said, hey, let's start a podcast. And then, we're able to touch, how many lives, with guests, right, that come on with their own unique stories, whether it's ghosts and goblins or holistic health, right? A little bit of everything. And then, we're able to spread those messages, which when we started this, everybody's like, what are you guys going to talk about? Like, just frying chicken? We're like, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that. But there's such a great area around here with a lot of great business entrepreneurs and just people in general. So being able to bring them on like yourself, we're thankful for that. Mitch and I have been through separate trauma, different scenarios where yin and yang is what we say. Mm-hmm. So we're able to talk about that, and, we're vulnerable enough too. And I think that's important. We're being honest about it. We're being open about it. And we know people have went through our same scenarios in a little different light.
Or in it right now.
Or the same exact light. But we're just proud to be able to have this podcast, and thank you guys for listening, because we're trying to help everybody out there that wants to listen.
I think the one thing I want to add, because we were talking about earlier in the podcast, you said that the content from Two Dads is pushing people to be better marketers.
Yeah.
I do believe in the vein of it all that it is. I don't, maybe in my 20s I would have been pumped up and said, what I think Two Dads is about? Specifically on the dynamic of relationships, probably more pro-male. We are 66% male, 33% female. But I will say, I think we're pushing people to be better dads, like better people, and to really own up, not just on the, hey, make sure you're there for your kid. Make sure you're there for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, our frequencies as you speak are very authentic, and we're not afraid to look at somebody and say, step up. Step it up. You're not doing enough. You need to do more for yourself, because you're worthless to all of us in this whole thing if you don't step it up yourself. So I think, this story here is very pertinent. It's one that we always talk about affirmation of business, Bill. I love hearing somebody say, Mitch, yeah, you should build this thing and build this portfolio, and you stack here, and then you get your second truck, and this is kind of how it works. Right? You take risk. I love when somebody affirms the mental side of stuff. So we appreciate you coming on here. Question for you, though, is what are you most proud of in your journey? I'm proud that I dumped some trauma. I could say I'm a happier, healthier Mitch. You come see me. I'm going to talk to everybody. How about you, Amber? What's your most proud moment on this journey?
Being a mom, honestly. I'm proud of my family. I'm proud of the wife that I am. I'm proud of the mother I am. And I'm a very different person than I was. I was a dumpster fire, like I said earlier, in my younger days. And I'm sure anybody listening that knew me, that thinks they know me, I'm just a very different human. I'm a better person. I'm a very good human, and I'm kind, and I'm trying to raise good humans to be the same. And I'm just proud of myself in general.
Yeah, I think they'd be lying if not everybody admitted to being a dumpster fire at one point in their life. Oh. It might be during, when you're a kid, or when you're a grown adult, or even later in life when you're a grandparent. But I think everybody's went through that. It's just the ones, there's certain people that are confident enough to go on camera and say that. I've went through some bad stages in my life just as well. Mitch, as you have, we all have. We're not afraid to admit it, but I also think that's why we're a little bit ahead in the mental state, because we've realized in trying to correct what we failed at.
Correct. Yeah, I agree 100%.
How do you define success? Sex.
Well,
6 months ago, I can tell you.
How do you define success, though? Year one, you come in here, you want to help people, and it's sort of, that's the mantra. You don't know how you're going to help, but you're going to help. You're several years down the line now. Does your definition of success change? Does it add additional elements like your business does? What does success mean to you now?
It absolutely changes. I feel like motivation at first was money to get out of my job, replace my income so I could be at home more. And every day it shifts to way less money and more joy, having time freedom with my kids, being able to work when I want. being able to focus on my marriage, being able to do the things that I want. Like I've been in it since 2017 now, and time freedom is everything. Not having someone I need to ask permission to go to my child's softball game or coach her team or take my kids anywhere, be with my family, take vacation. I don't want to be under anyone's microscope. I don't want to ask for permission ever to do anything. And that is success to me. So that's what I'm working towards. I want to work for that. That's my ultimate goal. Do what I want, when I want, and help people at the same time.
Let me ask you this. Just one question. We'll go to Bill because I know Bill's got a question for you. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up because this is something Rich and I say all the time. Have you noticed you get more out the more you put in? The more you give, do you see that you get more?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a
Yes.
strange phenomenon I've been seeing a lot lately.
Yes.
When I have been at the threshold of something that is give or take, and it's as simple as that. When I go down the give route, it shows back up almost every time. Not like magic, but I will say when I need it, it's there.
I believe tenfold. I believe the more you give, it comes back tenfold. And once I started believing that, things started happening. Weird things. Very quickly. We got offered a second business. And it was just the more you give, you're going to be provided tenfold. Especially when it's from a good, authentic place,
It was funny because we had a recent event that we ran into something and, we paid X amount of dollars and it was $240 or whatever it was. And 6 or 7 days later, we get a $250 tip. And Mitch literally texts me. He's like, we just got a $250 tip. And you know how we were razzing about that $240? We had a $250 tip 7 days ago. So it was just kind of like that. Hey, it's the way you look at things. I think as you give more, you get more. And it was just funny where he just instantly texted me. And he was just like, $250 tip. That's not by chance. That's exactly what that was. And that's God or a higher power or something kind of just lining the stars.
That's for me, man. I tell you what, the more I've shed, the more vulnerability, the more I've got to show people Mitch instead of OG Pickle. I always say having two personas. I have a digital persona I play video games on. OG Pickle was an alcoholic. OG Pickle did drugs and didn't give a shit and was egotistical and arrogant. He was confident, but also confident to a point where he was insecure. I think he was trying to be something he wasn't. He was trying to compete with people who didn't even like themselves, and he surrounded himself with the wrong people. Yeah. Mitch, when he moved home, is none of those things anymore, and I think I'm very proud of that. What am I proud of? I'm a damn good dad now. I'm a damn good friend. I'm willing to hear. I'm willing to talk. And Bill, I'd say the same thing. We're kicking ass, buddy. We're going to keep kicking ass and not look back. But I think conversations like this are a nice, mile marker to where we can learn about ourselves more. And we encourage people that are listening to listen to themselves more. Talk to yourself.
But before Mitch goes anything, we've got something special for you. I'm going to steal it from him. Do you want to play a game?
Oh, gosh.
I don't know what the game is, but I always wanted to steal it from him.
That's amazing. Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
This is the game show. As we kind of cruise down to the end of the episode, we always play this game show series. This one's called Vibe Check Wellness Edition. Amber, do you want to play?
I want to play.
Absolutely. She takes a big drink. I'm going to have a big drink too. But Amber, that sound means it's time for a game we call Vibe Check Wellness Edition. We're throwing you into a rapid-fire showdown of holistic hot takes. You've got two options, and you can only pick one. No explanations, no second guesses, just your gut. You talked about that earlier. Tell us about your frequencies, your vibe, and maybe just a little judgment from the audience. Are you ready to vibe? One-word answers only, rapid-fire question. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Acupuncture or massage?
Massage.
Smoothie or coffee enema?
Coffee enema.
Crystals or cold plunges?
Cold plunges.
Journaling or therapy?
Journaling.
Eat clean or live wild?
Live wild.
Celina or Colorado?
Celina.
Good vibes only or feel it all?
Feel it all.
Kombucha or tequila?
Kombucha.
Affirmations or confrontation?
Affirmations.
Farmer's market or Whole Foods?
Farmer's market.
Goat yoga or actual therapy?
Goat yoga.
Moon water or a gallon of tap?
Moon water.
Sage the space or leave the vibes raw?
Sage the space.
Sea moss gel or Sour Patch Kids?
Sea moss gel.
Meditation retreat or girls weekend in Nashville?
Meditation retreat.
And that's all the time we have.
I think I only knew half of what you even listed there.
It wasn't for you, baby.
I have something for you guys, actually.
Well, That's all the time you want to give us a gift?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Heck yeah.
Yeah,
All
all
right.
right.
I'm not going to cut her off there, Bill. We know how to stall. This episode is powered by Two Dads Podcast. Some of the best chicken, the All-American, the Basic Dad, the Hot Dad, and the Tenders. Make sure you stop up at the food truck and get some stuff.
And if you ask nicely, the hotter dad.
Yeah.
As long as Mitch has it in there.
Exactly.
We're going to open up what's behind envelope 1 and 2.
So if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, we've got a nice little gift from Amber. This is so sweet. And right here we're looking at, it's a waiver to sign our souls to Baphomet. That sounds terrible. Just kidding. This is, so she's given us a menu of all the wellness services. I'd hold it up, but Josh will get mad because this is on manual focus. And then all of a sudden, a lot of services here and a gift card for $40. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome.
Thank you for coming on. If you have one suggestion for me and one for Mitch, what would you tell us both to go do? Doesn't need to be within the gift card. We can pay whatever. What would be the one thing, first time guest, what should we try?
I'm very hard on my body in the truck.
Yeah, I know. I'd have to know your issues.
Lower back.
Lower back cranial sacral therapy.
Okay, I'm in.
Actually, lower back's kind of a pretty good one.
Bill just quit the gym today.
I just quit the gym. My new job's south.
quit the gym?
My job's south, so I will go down south instead of north. I'm spending more time in Pickwick Troy area. Let's just say, let's say mental. If I'm struggling mentally on anything, what would you go with?
Hands-on healing.
Okay, hands-on healing.
Or energetic balancing. One of those two.
That one kind of sounds fun.
Or,
If
or cranial sacral therapy.
I love that. If you're interested in if they're interested in learning more about you, Simply Holistic, where can they find you? Where can they get more information?
So we have a Facebook page, Simply Holistic of Downtown Coldwater and Celina. Instagram at Simply Holistic 21. And simply-holistic.net. Celina location is downtown Celina by Stallman Insurance. And Coldwater location is right across the street from Merle Norman, downtown Coldwater.
Well, hopefully by the time we see you next time, you get that baby out, and I hope to see this next human you've produced, because I know they got a great mama, and we're very proud of you. Thank you for sharing your story. That's all the time we have. Two Dads Podcast, episode 19. Before we get out of here, Slick Will, how you feeling after that, buddy?
I'm feeling good. The only thing I thought, I'm a numbers guy. You have an 18-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a newborn, so in 9 more years, you're due again.
18, 9, 6, and a newborn.
Oh, I didn't know about the 6-year-old.
That's all the time we have. No math for me. We'll see you next week.